please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We did not have a president or vice president, so I would entertain a motion to make a president for this meeting. Is there a motion?
A motion for what?
To make a president for this meeting.
A chair.
I make a
Chair.
motion that Mr. Button be our president.
There's a motion on the floor to make Dean Button. Thank you. There's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Madam Morris-Smith, could you please do roll call?
Roger Brock.
Here.
Dean Button.
Here.
Alex Delo.
Here.
Michael Dye. Ann Herbert.
Here.
William Hutton. Thomas Kazmierzak.
Here.
Sharon Zaney.
Here.
Pete Torres.
Here. 7
present. We have a quorum.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes of November 19th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion pass. Next on the agenda, item 4 is old business. CP 19-07, a petition by Sean Hammond, LLC, for final development plan approval in the Marina Development District Planned Unit Development District located at 914 Indianapolis Boulevard within the city of Hammond, Lake County, Indiana. And I would ask the secretary if the notification requirements have been met.
Yes, they have.
Thank you. Would the petitioner please come forward and state your name, please sign in, and your name and address, and please sign in before we start our hearing on this petition. Thank you. Please present your petition.
Okay, thank you very much. My name's Nicoletta Scarlatus. I'm the architect with my client, Sanjeev Katau, for the Taco Bell, proposed Taco Bell in the Marina City development. We're proposing to you for approval of the final development plan that you should have copies of in front of you right now. This Taco Bell is 1,780 square feet. It's a masonry building, 1-story, with a drive-through. It's in addition to the other already developed properties that are Starbucks, a Popeyes, and an IHOP. If you look at your site plan, SP1, it's this one, it's 11 by 17. You can see how we developed the plan. We're adding 36 parking spaces, and we're improving 26% of the land into landscaping. We have some additional site details. Our preliminary grading plan, a lighting plan, signage plan, and elevations. These were all requirements that we met, and we worked very closely with Brian Poland in order to accommodate all of the PUD requirements. The elevations, A 4.0 and 4.1, can give you an idea of what the building's going to look like. As I stated before, it's a mostly masonry building. We have two different colors of brick with an accent metal monolith on the corner and accent decorative trellises that are made to look like wood. Otherwise, it meets all of the requirements that we have worked with, like I stated before, with Brian Poland and also the Taco Bell branded environment requirements that we've already also received approval for. So at that, I don't know if Sanj has anything else to add.
Any questions or comments from the board? We'll entertain those.
Any questions from the commissioners? No questions at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
We'll
you.
go ahead and open this up for a public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience that wishes to make a remonstration for or against this, please come forward and sign in, state your name and address for the record. Anyone in the audience wish to make a comment about this project? Finally, anyone in the audience wishing to make a comment on this project? Public hearing is now closed. Do you have anything further to bring to this commission at this time?
that's all.
Thank you very much. Are there any other additional questions from the commission or staff towards the petitioners at this time? Then I would ask the staff to make a report upon this project.
Yes. Just for clarification purposes, this is a PUD district, and this is for final development plan of the PUD. That requires the Plan Commission to review the plan in accordance with Section 16.51, as well as Section 27.04. And the site does meet or exceed the requirements for under the zoning ordinance for the PUDs, as well as the general provisions that may be in addition to some of the PUD provisions. The under the section of 27.05, the Plan Commission is required to make certain findings of fact. That is presented on page 3 of the report. The staff recommendation is that the project, just for background purposes, the project has been determined to be compliant with the redevelopment plan for the area. Staff recommends that the Plan Commission approve the final development plan for the Taco Bell restaurant, just subject to any final technical reviews that may be needed prior to permits. And then for the findings of fact, for the 4 points that are listed there, that the development complies with the Marina District PUD, with the subdivision of the property is compliant with the subdivision control ordinance, the development is compatible with the adjacent development, and the development is consistent with the intent and purpose of the zoning ordinance and comprehensive plan.
Any question from the commissioners to staff on this petition? Any questions from commissioners? Then I would entertain a motion for approval of this action.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments on the motion?
Question, are you going with the approval of the final development plan and subject to final technical review of engineering?
Thank you, yes. So it's been moved and seconded. No questions or comments. May I have a roll call vote, please, on the motion?
Roger Brock.
Yes.
Dean Button.
Yes.
Alex Stilo.
Yes.
Ann Herbert. Yes. Thomas Kazmierzak.
Yes.
Sharon Zaney.
Yes.
Pete Torres.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion for the preliminary staff report to be shown as a finding of fact.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Roger Brock.
Yes.
Dean Button.
Yes.
Alex Steedlow.
Yes.
Ann Herbert.
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak.
Yes.
Sharon Zani.
Yes.
Pete Torres.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Thank you. Thank you for your petition.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you.
You too.
Same
Happy
here.
holiday. Trust you can see that I'm struggling a little bit up here, so I appreciate you bearing with me on this. Next item on the agenda is item number 5, new business. Shannon, the microphone. Shannon, he's asking you. New business CP 19-14, a petition of Yangesh Patel of Ascent Hospitality Management for approval of a one-lot subdivision called Oxbow Landing 4th Edition, located at 2847 Carlson Drive, which is Zone C4, General Commercial District within the City of Hammond. Will the petitioner come forward and sign in, and please state your name and address for the record?
Thank you. My name is Don Toringa. I'm with Toringa Engineering in Munster, Indiana, and I'm here this evening representing, and for the record, I can't say that name either. He goes by Nash.
Ash, thank you.
Anyway, Nash Patel, who is the owner of Ascent Hospitality. The property that we're looking at subdividing was previously subdivided as Oxbow Landing 3rd Edition. It's located at the southeast corner of the Borman Expressway and Kennedy Avenue. The property is currently vacant. It was previously subdivided as 3 lots, lots 3, 4, and 5 of Oxbow Landing 3rd Edition. The intention was to build 3 separate buildings on those 3 lots. Easements, utilities, engineering was all approved. Since then, the 3 lots have been sold to Ascent, and they are seeking to vacate 3 of the easements that represented ingress-egress utility easements through the property and re-subdivide as 1 lot so that they can build a hotel on this property. I've been working closely with Mr. Poland. The 3 easements require 6 individual sign-offs. They were by Comcast, AT&T, NIPSCO, Hammond Sanitary, Hammond Water Department, and the original owners of lots 3, 4, and 5, ATG Corporation. We have received final sign-offs on 3 of those. NIPSCO wanted to know if there were any utilities in the easement, and we did a survey showing there are no utilities in the easements. So NIPSCO will be signing off on it. We had a meeting with the Hammond Water Department and the Sanitary District in Mr. Poland's office, and both the Water Department and the Sanitary District were fine with removing the easements. We just have not received the paperwork yet. With that, I'm asking that the Plan Commission grant approval for this subdivision to be obviously not recorded until the easements are vacated and document numbers obtained by recording those vacated easements. Those then will be placed on the final plat.
Thank you, Mr. Toringa.
You're welcome.
Any questions from commissioners to Mr. Toringa? Any questions? No. Thank you. I'd open this petition for a public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience that wishing to speak in favor or against this petition? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor or against this petition? Anyone in the audience wishing to comment on this petition? Being none, I close the public hearing. Any further comments, Mr. Toringa?
I don't have any, no. Hopefully I was clear enough. If anybody doesn't understand, I'd be happy to go through all of that again.
I think we're clear. I will move on to the staff report. Mr. Poland, would you please present us with the staff report?
Just to kind of comment on that, the proposed combined lot is going to be 2.07 acres, and that exceeds the minimum size requirements for the C4 district. There were no objections received from the review agencies, but as Mr. Taranka pointed out, we are still waiting for all the final documentation on the release of the utility easements as well as the access easement. Therefore, staff recommends that the Plan Commission grant preliminary and final approval of the Oxbow Landing 4th Edition subdivision plat, subject to the extinguishment of the cross-access easements and utility easements. And if the Plan Commission agrees, then the staff requests that the Plan Commission adopt this staff report as its findings of fact.
Any questions for Mr. Poland from the commissioners? Any questions? And I would entertain a motion by the Plan Commission to grant preliminary and final approval of the Oxbow Landing 4th Edition subdivision plat, subject to the extinguishment of the cross-access easements and utility easements.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Roger Brock?
Yes.
Dean Button?
Yes.
Alex D'Lo?
Yes.
Ann Herbert?
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak?
Yes.
Sharon Zaney?
Yes.
Pete Torres?
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion from the Plan Commission adopting the staff reports as a finding of fact.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, may I have a roll call on the findings of fact?
Roger Brock?
Yes.
Dean Button?
Yes.
Alex D'Lo?
Yes.
Ann Herbert? Yes. Thomas Kazmierzak?
Yes.
Sharon Zaney?
Yes.
Pete Torres?
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is CP 19-16, review of, doing that right?
15.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. The next item on the agenda is CP 19-15, a petition of the Plan Commission for amending Oxbow Landing Overlay District Ordinance Number 9405, located at 2835 through 2929 Carlson Drive, which is zoned C4 General Commercial District within the city of Hammond. Mr. Poland.
Just to state that all the notifications have been met.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And just to ask my standard question, if there are any objections for me to act as both as petitioner and reviewer in this matter?
Are there any objections from the commissioners on Mr. Poland acting as petitioner and reviewer? Thank you.
Okay, all right. So as indicated, the Oxbow Landing Overlay District was adopted in 2018. The base zoning of the property is C4. This is the site of the 2 office buildings in the Oxbow Landing area, as well as the vacant property that was referenced in the previous case, and then there's an additional vacant lot. So in the original subdivision, there were 6 lots with 2 developed, 4 not. Because of the proposed change of the subdivision, that triggered the necessity of some amendments in the language of the Oxbow Landing Overlay District to reflect that change of that legal description. Some of the other changes would be addressing some of the setback issues, because now that the lots are different and the setbacks that were created for the 3 lots are no longer necessary, so some of that language was altered. We did also officially add in hotel as a permitted use. It was still a permitted use before because it was already in the base C4 zoning district. But we just felt, since we're making these other amendments, we'll just make it very clear that the permitted uses in the overlay district, that a hotel is included. And there's also one further change that addressed was the height of the building. In the proposed hotel, The building will be 5 stories, and because of some of the architecture of the building, it will be somewhere around 75 feet tall, and that was not previously allowed in the original overlay district language. So we have just amended it here. The advantage of that is that that would avoid them having to go through the Board of Zoning Appeals for a height variance. So that concludes the presentation.
Any questions from the commissioners for Mr. Poland?
My only question is, what was the height restriction? What was it initially in place for?
For the previous lots, it was like, I think it was 45 feet.
Okay, was there any specific reason?
45 feet is our standard height in a C4 district. And I know with the office buildings, I think there's, that's up to 60 feet. And so this particular hotel, again, is even going to be taller than the office buildings.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there any more questions? Mr. Poland? Public hearing.
Yes.
We'll open this portion of the petition for a public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this petition, please come forward. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to this petition, please come forward. Anyone wishing to make a comment on this petition in the audience, please come forward. Being none, public hearing is closed. I would now ask the staff to provide a report on the petition. Thank you. Mr. Poland.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing the staff to make this report.
You're welcome.
As the presenter did an excellent job in describing for the changes for this ordinance, I think it just behooves the staff to ask the Plan Commission to, or that the staff recommends that the Plan Commission approve the amendments to the text of the ordinance of 9405, which is section 19.20 of the Hammond zoning ordinance, and send the amending ordinance to the City Council with a favorable recommendation. And then, of course, if you agree with that recommendation, staff requests that this report is adopted as the findings of fact.
Any questions for staff from the commissioners? Being none, I would entertain a motion by the Plan Commission to approve the amendments to the text of Ordinance 9405 and Section 29.20 of the Hammond zoning ordinance 8514 and send the amending ordinance to the City Council with a favorable recommendation. Is there such a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, may I have a roll call on the amendment?
Roger Brock?
Yes.
Dean Button?
Yes.
Alex Steedlow?
Yes.
Ann Herbert?
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak?
Yes.
Sharon Zaney?
Yes.
Pete Torres?
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion that the report be adopted by the Plan Commission as a finding of fact.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Roger Brock?
Yes.
Dean Button?
Yes.
Alex Steedlow?
Yes.
Ann Herbert?
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak?
Yes.
Sharon Zaney?
Yes.
Pete Torres?
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is, thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Next on the agenda is CP 19-16, review of amending declaratory resolution 07-2019 of the Hammond Redevelopment Commission regarding amending the Gateway redevelopment area, expanding the boundaries by the Florida-Parish Sub-Area Expansion Area, and to determine its conformity with the comprehensive land use plan. Mr. Poland.
To report that the notification requirements
Or
have
have the
been met.
notification requirements been met?
Yes. And then again, there are no objections for me to act as presenter and reviewer.
Any objections by the commission?
Okay.
No, sir. Please proceed.
In this case, I'm acting kind of on behalf of the Redevelopment Commission. Earlier this evening at their meeting, they did pass amending Declaratory Resolution 07-2019. That is the first step in the process of amending any of the documentations for a redevelopment area. This is the third amendment to the boundaries of the Gateways redevelopment area. A couple years ago, the Kennedy Avenue corridor was added into the boundaries, and the Calumet Avenue area corridor was added into the boundaries. This particular expansion is branching off from Dowling Park, going up Parrish Avenue to Orchard Drive to pick up property that is often described as the Florida Avenue subdivision, but technically it is the Orchard Park addition to the city of Hammond, which is an 11-lot subdivision that was approved, I think it was like about 15 years ago, but was never built. Then the boundaries continue up further on Parrish Avenue to branch out to a property on the south side of the railroad tracks, where a subdivision that was created in the early 20th century called the Hootie and McCarty subdivision. There are about 12 lots there that were never developed. Then it crosses the tracks to pick up the vacant land that is between the subdivision that's on the east side of Parrish Avenue, south of 169th Street, and west of the Kentucky Avenue area that's on by closer to Grand Avenue. And then it does grab the Briar East Shopping Center. So that's the expansion area. The plan not only expands the redevelopment area, but it also creates a TIF allocation area, allowing us to capture the increment in the property taxes. There's some design guidelines that are created that are both for commercial, residential, and other types of development that are possible in the geographical area. And one of the important things is street infrastructure improvements. One of the stated projects in the plan is the ability to construct the Florida Avenue Street with some of the TIF allocation money. Anything else, Mr. Dave? Mr. Westland? Okay.
No, I mean, that's the big item is, the largest impetus is for the construction of the single-family homes that have been put on hold for 15 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the presentation.
A fine presentation. I would now ask the commissioners if they have any questions regarding the presentation. Thank you. I would then public hearing, correct? Open this portion of the petitioner's presentation for a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the petition? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in opposition of the petition? Anyone in the audience wishing to make comment on the petition? Being none, I will close the public hearing. Perhaps the staff could give us a report in excellent fashion as was previously presented.
Oh, certainly. The technical question before the Plan Commission is whether or not the plan for the redevelopment area does or does not comply with the comprehensive plan. And the applicable comprehensive plan documents are the 1992 comprehensive plan and I think it was the 2001 Hessville plan. So staff has reviewed those documents, and that there's no inconsistencies. There's quite, actual consistency with those plans. Based on some of the things that are in the recommendation from how the redevelopment law is written, that certain points need to be addressed. In the bottom, starting towards the bottom of the first page of the report, there's the whole section on the findings of fact. And it's a matter of addressing the does and does not questions that are illustrated there. And I won't read them, but if you can just review those things that they are trying to address, how this plan doesn't conflict with anything. So getting to the recommendation portion, staff recommends that the Plan Commission, there's 3 specific things that need to be done in that section. 1, make a determination that the Florida Parish Sub-Area Expansion Area Amendment to the redevelopment plan for the Gateways redevelopment area is in conformity with the 1992 Comprehensive Plan as amended by the 2001 Hessville Neighborhood Plan. 2, adopt this report as findings of fact. And 3, adopt the Plan Commission Resolution 2019-01. So that resolution is in your packet. That has been prepared by the consultants who are working on this. And it is the second important action that has to occur in the expansion of a redevelopment area. The staff then further recommends that we have to make the action that this report is determined to be its findings of fact, that the resolution 2019-01 both constitute the Plan Commission's written order for compliance with the official plans of the City of Hammond in accordance with IC 36-7-14-16A. Again, that is important statutory language that has to be addressed. And then forward the Plan Commission's written order to the Common Council with a favorable recommendation. The Common Council's action after coming from the Plan Commission is the 3rd step in the process, and that resolution is in your packet, and we would be forwarding that document to the council for their deliberations. And then assuming that they approve that resolution, the 4th step is that the process would go back to the Redevelopment Commission for a confirmatory resolution, and then at that point, the expansion area is in effect.
All a little bit confusing, but appreciate the description.
Makes perfect sense.
Any questions for staff at this time from the commission? Any questions from staff? It appears to me that we have 5 motions to undertake here, if I have that correctly. So the chair would entertain a motion to make a determination, that this commission make a determination that the Florida Parish Sub-Area Expansion Area Amendment to the redevelopment plan for the Gateways redevelopment area is in conformity with the 1992 Comprehensive Plan as amended by the 2001 Hessville Neighborhood Plan.
Do those 3 together.
You do those 3 together and then do the second 2 if you want.
So I would entertain a motion to approve the staff's recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, but you did, are you going to add the approval of the resolution to that?
It's the staff recommendation.
Yeah, the way I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, it would be, staff recommends the Plan Commission, it's number 1 is make that determination that Mr. Button read. Number 2, adopt this report as its findings of fact. And 3, adopt Plan Commission Resolution 2019-01. So that's the first
That's
motion.
what I've asked for a motion. That's what I received in a second.
Okay. So it's just so the minutes are clear.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, may I have a roll call on the motion?
Roger Brock.
Yes.
Dean Button.
Yes.
Alex D'Lo.
Yes.
Ann Herbert.
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak.
Yes.
Sharon Zany.
Yes.
Pete Torres.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Thank you. Then I would entertain a motion that the Plan Commission determine that the report by the staff is our finding of fact, and that PC Resolution 2019-01, Plan Commission Resolution 2019-01, both constitute the Plan Commission's written order for compliance with the official plans of the City of Hammond in accordance with Indiana Code 36-7-14-16A. Is there a motion?
And
And forward.
and forward it to the common council
Thought
with
that
a
was
favorable
third
recommendation.
motion, I'm sorry. We'll do that in a minute. So this is the motion with regard to the plan in accordance with the Indiana Code. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call on that motion.
Roger Brock.
Yes.
Dean Button.
Yes.
Alex D'Lo.
Yes.
Ann Herbert.
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak.
Yes.
Sharon Zany.
Yes.
Pete Torres.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Now I would entertain a motion that the Plan Commission forward the Plan Commission's written order to the Common Council with a favorable recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, call for the roll call vote, please.
Roger Brock.
Yes.
Dean Button.
Yes.
Alex D'Lo.
Yes.
Ann Herbert.
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak.
Yes.
Sharon Zany.
Yes.
Pete Torres.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 6, is there correspondence for the commission?
No correspondence.
Item number 7, any commissioners' comments? Any comments from the commissioners? I would just wish everyone, regardless of your faith, to enjoy this holiday season with your families and have a blessed holiday.
Same to you.
Thank you. Staff comments.
Just a reminder to the Plan Commission members that the January and February meetings are on the Tuesdays following the third Monday because of the Martin Luther King holiday and the President's Day holiday. And there is a possibility that we're going to have something in January, but I'm not confident that it's going to fully take place, but just keep that in mind at the moment. But I'm pretty sure that we definitely will have a February meeting. And also just to echo our chairperson's comments to wish everybody the happy holidays.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there any public comment? I would just say that I appreciate you bearing with me on this, leading this meeting. Thank you very much, commissioners. And with that, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.